our meeting tonight. Please help me open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May we have the roll call?
Trustee Grimm?
Here.
Trustee Jessberger?
Here.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Fiscal officers here. Township Administrator and Superintendent of Public Works.
Here.
Chief of Fire.
Here.
Chief of Police.
Here.
Code Compliance.
Here.
And Road.
Here.
Staff person.
Our next meeting is scheduled to be April 1st, held over at 999 Chambers Road at 6 p.m. At this time, I would like to make a motion to accept the agenda with flexibility.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes?
Trustee Grimm? Yes. Trustee Clark?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to go next. Deborah, would you grab the light? All right. So some of you know that from the beginning of the year, taking over as chair, I've been meeting with our department heads as well as some of our normal line staff and going over not really work-related stuff, but just so much like kind of working on team building, how we can improve that line of communication and how we can come together to better serve the township and to be more respectful towards each other. So Chief Jones put me in touch with two individuals from Waypoint Consulting, and these are the same two individuals that did the police study from 22 or 23? 22. And so brought them in to meet with Dave Medley, myself, and Chief Jones. And I kind of gave them an idea of what I was thinking of as more of like a, not really a retreat, but just things that for the leadership to be able to do together. So they sent a proposal over, and then I kind of took from it and made this Canva presentation that I will quickly go over. So they have decided that the name of the training would be Leadership by Design, Hands-on Strategies for Impact. So for the scope of work, the proposal outlines that we would meet for an 8-hour leadership training program designed to enhance collaboration, communication, and problem solving among township leadership. So it would be something that is highly interactive, would include fictional scenarios and hands-on exercises just to kind of help develop the leadership skills and improve team dynamics. So these are two individuals. I didn't include any of their bios because they were incredibly long, but if Chief Jones could just take a quick second to just kind of talk about each of them and just kind of what their history is, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, David Rose, he spent his career at the Ohio State University Police Department, retired there as a captain. He's now a public safety director at one of the universities here in Central Ohio. Also teaches as well leadership courses and leadership principles. Sean Bolander also started at OSU in his career and was with a federal Department of Justice agency for a number of years. He is also a public safety administrator for a local college in Westerville and is also a professor, and his main focus is on leadership, accountability, not so much the law enforcement side, but programming, management, leadership is his expertise. So these two together, we have hired them in the past also for a leadership course that we did here for our police supervisors. I think Perry Township and London also sent some of their supervision for the class also, and it was well receptive. So this is something that they've started getting into as far as some of the smaller towns, townships, that want some leadership dynamics put into things. So it's kind of their core focus. That's why I reached out to them to see if that would be a good fit for us here. But both of them, exceptional backgrounds and educational components, if anyone wants to see that later.
Absolutely, thank you. So because this is a newer consulting firm, the one thing, I can't see, but the one thing that I did want to point out is that when they were explaining how they came up with the name Waypoint Consulting, I did not know this, but the word waypoint was selected because waypoints are navigation markers that guide a journey but aren't the finish line. So I thought that that was really interesting because obviously a journey with leadership is you should always be developing. You're not perfect at what you do, nobody is. There are plenty of leaders out here that make a lot of mistakes, but as long as you're correcting those mistakes and you're not doing them again, and you're being uplifted and you're being supported in that, then there should be no problem. So part of the 8-hour training would be to also bring in the Clifton Strengths Assessment, which was developed by Gallup. So you would take the assessment, it takes about 30 minutes. Then the second thing would be you get your results, which also would identify your top 5 strengths, and then you would receive a full in-depth understanding of that report with a one-on-one with one of the individuals. So I would prefer this as we did this at the city and the health department. And I was very surprised about my top 5. I could have sworn that empathy would have been in my top 5. It was not, but it was in my top 10. But from what my results are, a lot of it had to do with being a, what's that word? To get stuff done. Executor, an executor. And so it leaned, like, all of my strengths leaned more towards leadership, which I would have never guessed. So since being at the city for 3 years, I've really taken a look at my individual strengths, and I've just kind of figured out like how I fit in a township like this, where we have multiple leaders, and how I process information or whatever. The same thing with feelings and emotions is not how everyone else processes. So if I'm taking offense to something that's said, then I know that I need to take a look at why am I being offended, because it's likely not the other person, I'm just not processing well what they're saying. And so when you have a clash of personalities and very different egos, it just makes for a very interesting dynamic with the team. But because there are so many of us, like all of our department heads and Deborah are having to work off of 3 trustees who are 3 very different people with 3 very different egos and personalities. So it's just kind of difficult all the way around. But if we can lean on each other and we know what each other's strengths are, then things eventually make sense. Does that make sense? Okay. So for their rates and fees, so the actual the 8-hour in-person training, and the development of everything would be $3,200, and then by adding on the Clifton Strengths Assessment, it would be $200 per person. This will not include me because I just have to get the guys my information from the city because it was so recently done that I don't have to redo it. And so I believe, if I counted correctly, we would be looking at the 2 trustees, the fiscal officer, the department heads, Deborah, Lieutenant McCoy, and Cody would be the ones that would be doing the assessment. Hang on one second. And so ideally it would be great if we could do it on a Saturday. because ideally no one would be working. We would have the attention, we wouldn't have the distractions, and we would plan to do this off-site. And so we are looking at a couple different places that potentially we would be able to use for those 8 hours. We also understand, and Dave is working with Julie and trying to figure out with her how we post this, because Waypoint understands that we can't officially discuss township business outside of a public meeting with decisions being made. So they do understand that, but it's still probably going to be best if we post it as a special meeting. But not that I don't want the general public there, but the reason that I would suggest that we do it off-site is because it would minimize distractions. And it would allow for all of us, this is the social worker in me, but it would allow for all of us to be fully present in that moment with nothing else in our ears going on. However, if a weekend on a Saturday would not suffice for whatever reason, then obviously we could look at a work day. I don't have an issue taking 8 hours of my own PTO. I just need to know in advance to make sure that my manager approves it. We would still be looking to do it off-site, even if we did it Monday through Friday. But I just feel like a Saturday would be best. And so the one thing that they just kind of strived was they are confident in their ability to provide exceptional leadership training. Like Chief Jones said, they have a wealth of education and knowledge behind them. And I just really firmly believe that this should have been happening years ago, and this should happen no matter where you work. There's always going to be some sort of retreat or team building exercises, but I know because the township has never done that, I thought that this would be a good opportunity to potentially start something. So whether I'm here for another term starting next year or I'm not, my hope is that this would continue, because we each hold value in this organization. And just like, I try to tell my clients all the time is, like when something traumatic happens or there's like trauma in the community, we don't heal separately. Like, we have to come together to heal together. It's a community problem, the violence is. So just like the township and the leadership is, when each of us can feel a connection, then we feel that we have a place. And that's what I need for all of us to feel moving forward. Are there any questions? Yes.
Just that I have my strengths finder, so you don't have to include me. And that, just a comment, I've been wanting to do this for years. I remember Jane was very anti doing something like this or previous boards, so I'm looking forward to doing something like this because I just think that it really helps grow people. I love attending these kind of seminars. I love them.
It would have made a huge difference, I think, last year when we had so much stress and stuff like that.
What about the department heads? Cody, Deb, anyone have anything to say?
This is a good effort. I can't see why it would be not good to invest in our way we work together. Development.
It's the first time we've ever had an activity like this the entire time I've been here for leadership, so I think it's a good move in the right direction.
Lieutenant McCoy?
I think it'd be great. Allow us to communicate better. We know our strengths and weaknesses. I think that's key to the whole thing. Knowing how each of us are thinking. I think it's a great idea.
So if this is something that we are interested in doing, I would suggest that we, let's see, pass a motion for payment.
I think, I'm guessing pass a motion for him to sign an agreement, because it's gonna be less than 5,000, we don't need a PO. We've had a robust discussion, and maybe you pass a motion allowing him to move forward and sign documents to implement this. And we expect it to be less than 5,000, so we don't need a purchase order. Unless the attorneys say differently, just the public meeting part is the more.
I also, sorry, just so it reminds me, I think Julie sent me an email a while back, I'll try to see if I can find it, about the way the verbiage that can be titled, if you're gonna be doing an offsite.
Yeah, that's everything that Dave's already
Yeah, well,
working on, Julie,
Yeah.
to make sure we have it correct.
you want to present the motion?
Yes, is it, so, I wanna say it would be like 5,000 exactly, but just to be safe, can we do like 5,500? Just to be
Yeah.
safe?
Yeah, because there may be a meal included in this. Yeah, just.
Well, the purchase order is gonna be to Waypoint
Two
Consulting.
separate things.
If there's a rental fee to be in a building, it might be $200, and it wouldn't be part of the PO. And Panera Lunch is not going to be the same PO. The PO would be for Waypoint Consulting for this leadership development. Yes, there might be soft costs included in that, so you could say not to exceed $5,500 to Waypoint Consulting, allowing him to sign the agreement. And internally, it looks like it's going to be 2,000 less than that. The PO isn't necessary, but maybe I'm a basket case and we need to do more work on it, I'm not sure.
Goes without saying.
Just put it over
Alright,
there.
so Dave, would you feel comfortable making a motion now?
Request a motion to approve the Township Administrator Dave Medley to enter into a contract for the leadership training with Waypoint Consulting Firm.
So moved.
Trustee Clark? Roll call. Trustee Clark? Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
And that covers all of it, correct?
I believe so, and he'll check with legal, if not, we'll have another motion in the future, but I think we'll be good.
Okay, awesome. I very much appreciate this. Thank you, everyone. Do we have any public comments? On to the fiscal officer.
I request a motion to approve the December 2024 fiscal report.
So moved.
Second?
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Request a motion to approve the December 2025 fiscal report.
So moved.
Good, January 2025.
What did I say, January?
You said December.
Hasn't happened yet. January 2025 fiscal report.
So moved.
Second?
Did you second that?
I did, but I shouldn't have, sorry, dude. I jumped ahead.
Would you like to second this motion,
Yeah,
Mr.
that's
Clark? Okay, seconded by Trustee Clark. Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Trustee Rebecca?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm? Good God. Super official. All right, I'm going to read the February fiscal report. February 1st, the township had an overall fund balance of $10,178,885.99. Last month, there was $374,694.38 in revenue. Expenses were $479,363.03, leaving an overall fund balance of $10,076,647.66 on February 28th. out, like March 6th, I think. Okay. So request a motion to approve the February fiscal report.
So moved. Second.
Trustee Grimm gets it. Okay. Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Desberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Request a motion to approve the bills.
So moved.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Desberger?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Request a motion to approve payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Desberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Request a motion to approve the February 18th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Desberger?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Request a motion to approve the March 4th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Desberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
And I'm still seeking information for the August 13th, September 12th, and December 17th meeting minutes.
I think Dave sent the times last week, and I confirmed that it was Jess that seconded them yesterday.
This was sent in an email to me.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that. I will look again. Okay. Then I'm requesting a resolution to amend the permanent appropriations by the following.
And these are for 2024, 2025?
25. 1,110, 190, adding 20,000. 2111-220-230, adding 10,000. 2081-760-750, adding 40,000. 2904-210-340, adding $1,450. Fund number 2261-210-740, adding $17,891.56.
So the first one is other salaries, and you want to increase that by 20,000?
Uh-huh.
And that's for,
Cassidy,
I feel like I need to say so moved, so we can have it open.
oh, sorry.
I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Thanks.
And then the second one is workers' comp.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is motor vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that for? Would you know why we need to increase by 40?
Mike?
Yeah, the 2081-760-750, we're moving $40,000 to the vehicle equipment line for the resolution I'm going to be requesting later.
It looks like the DUI education, you're increasing that a second time, or is what's in here already there, the 1450?
It wasn't in the first. This
Draft?
was in,
Oh, okay.
what we passed in November.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's similar to the 2261 fund.
Yeah.
We have money in that account, but it was not appropriated yet, so appropriating allows us to spend it at that point.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, ready for the roll call? Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Desberger?
Yes.
Trustee Green?
Yes.
And just to exercise some flexibility, so because there was a large lapse in time with the waiting for the 3 meeting minutes, like for the information, I believe what I talked to Dave about today was to come up with a, I forgot the name of it again.
SOP.
Yes. So like a process where it's nothing, like it's not gonna be like the formal whatever, but just like the heads up to pass along to the future trustees as like the actual manual for the township is if there's a meeting where the fiscal officer is not present for whatever reason, ideally it would be the responsibility of the 3 trustees because it would be our meeting at that point. However, whoever the chair at that time is responsible for keeping track of the times. So there can be that one direct person that the FO can contact to say, what about this? Things get missed, things happen. You accept what hasn't been done, what has been done, whatever, and then we move on. It's a simple fix. So, Dave will be working on some sort of like process, procedure type thing. Nothing to it, just simply, this is what happened, this is what the meetings look like if the FO is not present, like for executive sessions or whatever. So then she's not having to hang around all night to wait. There's just that automatic administrative component to the chair to get that finalized.
And let's also not remove agenda items that are not yours to remove. I had this on the agenda, it was removed, there was a misunderstanding as to why it was removed, so more talking to in between meetings would have helped avoid that.
And I believe that also includes, I think it's done case by case like with townships, but since I've been on the board, we've always operated that the agenda should be final by like 10 a.m. the day of the meeting. Is that correct?
It's
Correct.
usually the day
If
before,
not before.
So
like
Yeah.
5 p.m.
we have
before.
to get out of the habit of just, unless it's like a crisis or a PO needs signed or there's a deadline for another government entity for a report or I don't know, something, like we have to stick to the structure because when we don't, this is what happens. Like there's miscommunication, people get upset, decisions are made, it's not always explained very well, so it can't continue like that.
Sure. Seems reasonable.
Okay. All right. On to committee and team reports. Chat with Chief Fraley.
So at our March 14th free produce market, we had 10,000 pounds of produce distributed to 516 individuals. We held a movie night on March 7th, which was well attended, and everyone seemed to have a good time. Next movie night will be this coming Friday, the 21st, at 999 Chambers Road. Doors open at 6 p.m. Movie starts at 7.
Awesome, thank you. Beautification work group.
Not a lot of update, but Deborah was kind enough to send out an email on Friday about the signs. I don't know if everybody saw my reply on Saturday, but I think we should see how successful the program is this year before we start committing to a new sign group. So if we get new attendees, that's great. We can hand out the remaining signs that we have. And then, we're gonna continue with anybody who participates, or obviously their house is gonna get showcased on Facebook. But then to see how successful the year brings us before we start committing to a new set of yard signs. Since we can't just order what we already have. So everyone feel comfortable with that? Thanks.
On to the budget work group.
We did meet a couple weeks ago and went through every department's budgets and anticipation and looking at revenues and expenditures from last year. From there, we're gonna develop like the overall budget to be shared, like proposals with that group in the next meeting, and then coming out of that with like recommendations on what it's gonna look like. But we know the results of what day is the 11th election?
May 6th.
So we'll know that, by the next meeting, we'll know that result, so that'll help maybe that groups.
That you're reflecting on, the agenda says the next budget voting group is May
Yes.
13th, so after we know if the voters are gonna approve the fire levy, that's gonna be a more fruitful meeting to start drafting the 26th budget.
Unless if you have anything to add to what we did last meeting. Good.
We just did a look back at 2024. We're gonna wait till, I guess, the meeting April 1st to share each department's summary of their 2024 financial numbers. And we know by the summer, we're gonna be passing the budget, as we do every year. So between now and then, if trustees have a specific question they'd like us to work on an answer by April 1st, let us know. Unfortunately, there's a million ways to do this, and we're trying to simplify it, but finance is complicated. So my simplified look, as I said, sort of February 24, let's not spend more than we're bringing in. So we didn't do that as a township as a whole. So that's from the 10,000 foot view, trying to not spend more than we bring in for the year. So I would like to have a uniform way that we look at the numbers, but we're all creative animals doing it in sort of different ways and trying to get us on the same page. Might never happen, but it's still worth the effort. So we'll continue to issue reports. If you have specific questions, let us know so that department heads and us, the FO office, can vet them and try to get us all on the same page as we present it to you all.
I forgot to add something under beautification, if we can go back there real quick. If we're done with the budget review.
Hang on a second. So the first meeting in April
April 1st,
will be,
a look back at 2024. We were gonna do that tonight, but it's okay to hold that off for the next meeting. And I don't care a ton whether we do that under committee reports or if you want to do that as each department head's time comes up, but it's definitely a group effort that I'm your accountant. I'm not a perfect forecaster to say where we're going to be in 2 or 3 years, but we will all try to do that together.
would it be possible to have something like up on the screen over at 999?
I try to have them over here because we have a better screen. We are meeting now inside at 999, right? We're not in the garage anymore.
I thought we were something about it.
Yeah, the only problem when we did, I remember police levy stuff, that screen, you have to use some of the table that's right next to the screen because of the boards and stuff, so the trustee table may have to be used if you want to set something up there with a laptop.
Okay. So we can try. It's helpful if we're, I could really review just the cash summary by fund, which is what I printed up and gave to you all. I could highlight just the general funds green, roads yellow, fires red, police blue. And to me, that's really the most I have to say, and then letting each department vet out, we did what we needed to do, or I was able to cut back. So I don't know how much to overwhelm us with great reports that we can then hyperlink and let people see for themselves who can attend these meetings. So we can make it work at 999. We just have better text up here to project this cash summary by fund. But I don't want to push all the way to May. If we want to wait till we're back on this side of the township, then you're going to be colliding the 26 budget with trying to look at 24's numbers, and that's too much to do in the summer. So we will make it work April 1st. Maybe we could be back inside in the little room. There's a TV in there. It's a little claustrophobic with that big table in the front, but I don't know if we're in the garage or in the claustrophobic table room, but I can share something simple, that even if I can't project it, we can all print it out and look at it like this sheet of paper. And if each department head wants to do that, they can do that. Not sure how, but I'll try to make it work.
Thank you.
Have a projector, when you need it, that can connect it to a computer and project it, and that helps in a way.
Yeah, and we do have a portable projection screen,
Okay.
so as
Yeah.
Chief Jones said, he made it work last year, and it does work, it's just not as nice as these.
Brian?
I currently have it set up over there with a projector on that screen up in the truck bay.
Okay.
My table that sits low out of the screen's away, so
Okay.
should be able to make it work.
All right.
Trustee Graham wanted to say something about beautification, so before we leave these committee reports, I have a unrelated thing on the agenda.
Okay, just back to the beautification section, we met, Dave and I met with the contractor yesterday. We got the exit signs for updating the electrical over at 999, and he should be hopefully starting work. I know he's going on spring break with his kids next week, but when did he say he was gonna start?
Today or tomorrow, I'd like to have it finished up by the end of the week. I will follow up with him, make sure he's out there, stuff's out for the meeting night.
Is that cameras in the electrical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about the cameras, we were talking about the electrical, and we were talking about, the electrical mainly in the bay, and then putting up the exit signs in the bay. Also updating some of the electrical, but, the hood, I think, needs to be updated in the kitchen. And then back where we meet, as our executive sessions, he's gonna look at that ceiling and see what they can do about that, cause it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
He said he's gonna redo the ceiling in there, but as for how much other additional work might be on top of that based on the beautiful, mosaic stains that are on the ceiling there, we don't know what the underneath is gonna look like until we open it up.
Well, we did, I'm not looking to spend money, but we did appropriate large amounts of money to get 999 ship shape this year, like 200,000. I'm not saying we will spend it.
And I think he was gonna do something upstairs too, in the police.
Just the exit signs.
Is there anything else that we should update? Was that about it? Thanks.
Okay. Two things. That our investment people are raising our fees starting April 1st. So I either need to get out by April 1st, or we agree to pay, right now we're paying just under $5,000 a year, and this is gonna go up to $7,500 a year. And we pay quarterly. I don't wanna get into all the updates we got from them when we met with them last week, but I'm not sure we should even be with Meter anymore, but I don't wanna pull the curtain on it in 2 weeks.
May I ask you what we're paying for, or would that be better to have a conversation just between us?
There are investment advisors, I don't know, but they're supposed to oversee our investments. And we asked them last year, because Star was getting better interest rates than the long-term investments, that as things matured, we move it over to Star. And they didn't do that, and so we missed out because Star was at 5% and our portfolio with them was only at 3%. And Star has $2 million and they have $5 million.
I know
So
that-
sadly, we would have made wild amounts of
Yeah,
money if I didn't have them at all, and we were just writing the short-term interest rates. But that's not reasonable in the long run. Short-term interest rates are not always going to be gangbusters. So hindsight's going to be 20/20, and Clark, my assistant, and I are all disappointed that we gave them clear instructions that the truce was, well, as these instruments mature, move them over to the higher yielding thing. That didn't happen. Then he also gave us the bad news bears that their fees are going up considerably. And if we get out totally, and we want to get back in, it would be 10,000. If we stay in, it's 7,500 a year for them to oversee our portfolio. But unfortunately, I have to say, they didn't do a great job doing that last year. And that was made a specific request that didn't happen.
That was my biggest disappointment, that we requested that they do that, and his response was, oh, I'm sorry. And we literally lost thousands of dollars. We could've made-
Per my non-disclosure agreement, I realize I'm not allowed to make any kind of decisions regarding financial
Investments.
advisors or investments, but can I see the contract anyway? Or like whatever agreement that we have with them?
I mean, you see this.
I just wanna know what we're paying
Is
for.
that ethical?
I don't know. It's right on the line. That's why I was gonna announce it.
If she can.
She'll probably have to abstain. It's a little complicated. Usually short-term interest rates aren't so fantastic. Usually it is safer to be with a long-term. Meter's good at what they do. They only work with governments. Oddly enough, they also oversee Star Ohio. So it would be very easy for him to move monies.
So do you have someone else in mind?
My simplistic thing is to just ride the short-term 5% interest or 4.5% interest we're getting with Star Ohio and revisit somebody years in the future. I think for the next 1.5 to 2 years, Star Ohio will be beating all investments. What happens after that, I have no idea.
Just make sure that it, the investments that are inside Star, comply with that. I know that there's a limited amount of,
It's not invested in Star, oddly enough. It's liquid. It's just interest.
so it's like a savings account,
It's a high interest.
a high yield
Account.
savings account?
I can't say it's a savings account. It's an account that only government entities can be in, and it has a higher interest rate than regular. But I'm very sure they're not investments. It's liquid.
And is that also through meter? No, you said it was through Star, the company Star?
Yeah, the company is Star.
It's not a company, it's ran by the state of Ohio.
Oh, so it's like,
Star Ohio is ran by the treasurer of the state of Ohio.
okay, got it.
Somehow Meter is able to look into it. Like somehow Meter is like a overseer of it. But yeah, it's an instrument of the state. Only state entities can be in it. It is a bank account. I just wouldn't say it's a savings or a checking account.
Do they use the money to fund like Ohio projects and they give you an interest rate? Give you like a prorated again?
No, we get the monthly interest rate that they come up with. It changes.
But
It's,
how is the money, if we give the money to them, how are they using it?
They, I think, have contracted with Meter to invest it to make interest on the money.
Okay, so we save money by going to Star so that they can give it back to Meter to invest the fund.
And we wouldn't pay them the $7,000 to Meter ourselves.
That's what I mean, but then
And-
Star is gonna give it back to the same company.
Yeah, and then also, like I said, I think we figured that we lost at least 1% interest. When we're making more interest in Star Ohio on $2 million, then a month, then they're making on all of our other investments for $5 million, they're mission.
So year end, 7 million, 1% is that 70,000? I think it is.
It's not nothing.
That's not nothing. So are we signing this agreement tonight, or what are the two of you want to do? I don't care either way. We could get out totally, or we agree to eat their higher fees for a quarter. and
Well,
we
we're not gonna be
revisit this
able to
later.
get out totally because they've got long-term investments.
If we don't want to pay the higher fees.
So
for
we've got to
April
figure
1st.
out how that works, 'cause I think they've got investments up to
Agreement,
5 years.
be able to find the actual, like, service level agreement that they have, if you wanna look it over before this. Just for information, but that's not the end.
No, that's not the full agreement, that's the increased fee.
Doesn't have an end date, it just starts.
They're letting us know April 1st that fees are going up. So it's just, and this happens with all of our contracts, really.
So we have to let them know by the 1st?
Yes. Looks like it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get out of them, out of the contract or out of the transfer all the money by the 1st of April. This is just letting us know that the price is gonna go up.
And if we don't do this and then try to get it back in, it's gonna cost us $10,000, not the $7,000.
7.5.
This is more or less an agreement acknowledging that the price is gonna go up.
So is this due on the first, like, close of business? Or is this something that can be sent after the board meeting?
The fees are going up April 1st. And I don't know if we could get out before that or not. My assistant's thinking it would not be easy to do by April 1st.
But maybe paying some penalties if we have some long-term investments.
I know I would like to take a longer time to decide if we're gonna pull out.
If we can't get out, then we probably just have to sign it. And
We probably should sign it for now and have a discussion before 3 months from now if we want to stay in with them or not. Rebecca?
So just to confirm, by signing this, you're not making any sort of a commitment to stay with them. You're just agreeing to the fact that they have notified you that the fees are gonna go up on April 1st. But then we still have, you're not signing for like a contract for a certain amount of time. You're not
That's my
making any
understanding.
commitment to the company.
That's
You're
my
just
understanding of it.
understanding that that's what they're saying, that we are okay with them increasing the fees on April 1st. If we're still with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, like, what if we just really couldn't afford it and we can't do the fee increase? Why? So I don't think we need a motion, and we definitely have a robust discussion. The fees are going up. Do you think we need a motion?
I think we may run this through our attorneys and see where we're at, and maybe a good option before we sign.
Okay, we can do that before April 1st.
Since they give it to us on short notice,
You guys have the right to think about it before.
just FYI, I'm gonna be out of time from Thursday until April 1st.
Okay.
Just so
We've got your
if
phone
there's
number.
any interest in difficulty, you just wanna come to Moab, you can talk.
I do.
I think it only needs one, doesn't it?
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's that, there's one place, yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like we'll have our attorney review it and we'll discuss this again April 1st.
Jessica gets to make the good decision.
And then the item I wanted to add was November 7th. The township administrator, trustee Clark, and I met with Solar United Neighbors and another nonprofit. They have started a program with City of Columbus and other municipalities. We could join in for free. City of Columbus is paying a fee to be in this program. They are bundling solar projects for residential and small commercial. If a household already has solar panels and would like battery backup, they could join this bundling effort. And the idea is it will bring down the cost of installations 15 to 20% for the owners. Won't cost the township anything to be involved, but we would need legal to review it. They're also going to do this in Bexley. City of Columbus is already doing it. So it would be nice if we're able to join this and promote it. Even our friends who are slightly outside of the border in City of Columbus could still participate in this program.
And they're gonna do all the marketing, they're gonna send mail pieces out, they're gonna send social media out, they're gonna provide things that we can put on our website, plus social media posts that you can repost.
So
But may need to get a Instagram account.
Is your device on?
Huh?
Is your device on?
Maybe not. We may have to get some other social media to like accounts to be able to like push it out.
So I
Yeah, I touched base with Deb a little bit on it, so we're gonna put together a strategy.
But it's, again, it's just vetting all the vendors out there so that if a resident's looking, they get a guaranteed lower price, plus they know that the contractor's not gonna like run off with their money. It's like a way that we can provide protection for our residents, and also, like Deb said, bundle like go in as a team, but then there's like vendors that residents can pick. They don't have to go with specifically one, they can pick which one. Similar to aggregating the electrical for people that, to get a lower rate by giving our stamp of approval on it.
So the plan is to bring this to the board April 1st, but I wanted to touch base with you all about it today. And in between to let legal that the agreement that Bexley's doing, City of Columbus is doing, and I forget the smaller municipality they said, I feel like it was another township.
Yeah, did one, gives one.
And City of Columbus asked them to work with nearby municipalities. So they requested, they reached out to us, and we already have a relationship as these folks presented last year. They're a nonprofit I know about. Is there anything I missed to that?
And this group comes out of the Netherlands, that's doing all this, right?
The people doing the vetting.
Right, yeah,
Yes, are
right.
based in Europe.
The other thing I would add to is that they just wanted to have our logo or whatever in their advertisement that we was part of this organization or just part of our
Program.
Columbus and program.
So we wouldn't do that without your legal vetting this, board approval April 1st, and then promotions would happen thereafter. I very quickly ran this past Deborah Smothers earlier today. It sounds like it would be fun, and I don't think it would cost us anything, but we shouldn't get into anything if it's not a good fit.
No, it's, you know, like you said, lending our logo to a letter that's gonna be sent out. That's the first part.
Yeah, it would land to our residents, and they're not planning on doing any outreach to businesses, but if we had the capacity, I would like to. Not all of them, maybe working with a new consultant, but I thought it would be a nice promotional thing for possibly Deborah, just to let the businesses know this is happening, not bottom lining it,
Right,
just
just,
getting the word out.
With respect to just the solar that we discussed, and then we also discussed perhaps having the, and you asked me to remind you,
The aggregation.
the aggregate work group.
Yeah, so that solar panels will come back April 1st. It's a bundling idea. All of you let us know quick questions. And then, yes, we've been talking about aggregation, which is most municipalities have done this already, bundling all of our residential customers to a vendor to go out and find electricity at a smaller price. I personally finally did this on the PUCO's website, so it's only a 3-month low rate that I'm in. So there are many companies that do aggregation. I personally like sticking with a nonprofit. The board would need to, I suggest, get 3 or 5 bids from companies. Pick one, then you have to do 2 resolutions, and the voters would decide this fall if this township should be aggregated. And if the voters approve it, but somebody doesn't want to be aggregated, they would need to opt out. They need to say, I don't like that energy company, I want to stay with AEP Ohio.
and I could talk personally, the one I selected, I get a check every quarter back from them, and it's ranged anywhere from $25 to $50. Every quarter I get back from that electric company that I've aggregated mine at home with. Separate, it gives me a lower rate, plus then they give me a, I don't want to call it kickback, because that's not.
And for folks that are already chose a different provider, I think you would stay with that provider and not be able to get aggregated in, but then when that contract ends, I don't know, this is just a question to ask the aggregators. People hate talking about energy companies.
I would like to ask Jolene, so being a resident here, what would your thoughts be on that?
I haven't voted on it, I don't want it, I want to just keep the tower like it's been. I've been 71 years like that, and I love it till the day it dies. Every time I change something like that, it gets worse, costs me more money.
And when you say like our residents would vote on it,
Like a ballot issue. Does Clinton Township want to go with this aggregation program or not? So City of Columbus did this, I think, 2 years ago, and I think their residents are paying 10% less for electricity. My household is paying $500 a month right now for electricity. I have a plug-in vehicle, so that's some of it, but electric costs have gone up going into this year, and they're gonna go up into the next quarter. AEP Ohio said that, but they're probably gonna go up even if you aggregate. So, people don't like talking about this because it's money going out the door. But the idea is whether you're doing a construction project and building solar panels or buying energy, you get more when you go in together. And it's bundling. Bundling aggregation for future consumption, bundling construction projects to drive down the price of bringing all the crews out to build something.
That
And-
person's done this for close to 20 years.
And where the two come together is as long as your aggregator is good with net metering, when you put solar panels on your house, things will go well. You will get back a fair price for your extra kilowatts. So if people want to join a short working group around energy issues, we can do that. But Deborah Smothers would be happy to help lead. Or we can do it as we've been doing it, just a little clunky right now.
And if I can just quickly add, I know when we kind of just briefed upon it last year, Orange Township, that we have to use the same provider, uses an Archer, and they have pretty much provided on their website the whole entire process, and they break it down like into bite-sized baby steps, if you will, to take, because it can be very overwhelming and confusing. But from the beginning to the end of the process, getting it on the ballot, the letters that go out to the residents, so forth. But the beauty of it is that the township kind of shepherds the program so that what Joe was saying, lots of times when you go on the apples to apples and you say, oh wow, that's so much cheaper than what I'm paying now. What happens is, because you have pages of a contract to read, 3 months later, they jack your price up and all of a sudden you're paying 5 times more than what you were paying before. So when I say it's shepherd, meaning that there's safeguards in place so that doesn't happen. So that the residents can still get the big bang for the buck that they voted for, signed up for, and the carpet's not pulled out from underneath their feet, 3 months down the road, and all of a sudden they're paying, more than if they would have stayed with AEP, let's just say.
So you negotiate a price, and they give you a price, and it's not like home equity loans that have it can fluctuate based upon.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to resend that so you can see how Orange Township kind of broke it down and their documents on their website. So it's very, clear and easy to read for the person who absolutely knows nothing about, this universe, which I think is most of us.
Right.
It's helpful to not be the first. It's nice to be able to point to another township that's been through this process. I don't care what company to go with, I just usually prefer nonprofits, but if the for-profit company comes in with a lower kilowatt price, that's probably what you guys will go for, because that's probably what the residents want. Does that sound good then? We'll make a little, not gonna go beyond this year, just Deborah Smothers and I can help move forward the energy conversation with aggregation, and we'll talk about solar panels people first, as long as they send us what they need to for legal vetting. Okay. I'm done.
Thank you. On to Dave Medley with administration.
And I submitted a monthly report to the board. I'll touch some highlights. All secured. We finally got the last 2 medics, the lock system installed on them. Between them being out of service and for repairs and back and forth, that's finally completed. They seem to be working fine. Been having an issue with some street lights on Elmore Avenue. There's about 5 of them out. I've been in contact with AEP and the resident, trying to get them repaired and back on. I met with Jamie Gentry with the EAG consulting firm in Grandview Heights to discuss the plan for the Jet Z moving forward with them trying to help with some economic development. I met with Dave from Square Construction about some roof leaks we had here at 3820 Cleveland Avenue. He put a plan together, and since we're out of warranty and stuff, it'll be a little bit of cost for them to come out and do some repairs. And we talked about some maybe future fixes to what happens in the wintertime, because we end up with an ice dam and the water starts backing up the cracks in the holes in the corrugated metal that's on the roof. We had a hydraulic tank split on one of the dump trucks during a snow removal, so it is getting fixed now with a new tank. I attended some pesticide training to keep my commercial pesticide license up to date. And we're been working with Trustee Graham and Brian Fraley and Kim Arnold and Julie to get some kind of agreement together for our building use policies with government-to-government agencies. Any questions?
Have you reviewed the building use policy that shared in the past?
Yes, that's on the horizon, but we want to make sure we get the facility together so we can open it up. Then we'll jump on that. And we'll pass the 2024 review until next meeting.
Yeah, I put that on there. I had sent an email, I think like replying to when the permanent appropriations had gone out, or the
December
email
fiscal
from,
reports.
yeah, the fiscal reports, that no one had responded, and I was just getting nervous because we had said we were gonna have this meeting in Q1. So I went ahead and I sent a couple of follow-up emails just asking people to talk about just in the fiscal review, just so that we at least did something. But I'm super excited to hear about what we're gonna be doing on April 1st, and I'm excited that it's actually gonna be happening since we started talking about it, I think in October last year. So it was really good news to hear what our fiscal officer had to say about actually putting it together and having an official public session with our fiscal review. So I'm super excited. And then also, I'm so sorry, I probably should have said this before, but in talking about the other one, I'm really looking forward to having, conversations with the trustees about what those agreements should look like for the space usage. So we're hopefully gonna have a couple of conversations about that in the near future. That's it.
Good. Moving on, request a resolution hiring, establishing and clarifying the terms and conditions of employment for the Clinton Township Police Chief Michael Jones.
Second?
Trustee Graham?
Yes.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Next, I have a motion to approve Chief Jones' payout as submitted to the board.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Trustee Graham?
Yes.
What I was interjecting about, did we want to add $1 for the gun now? So that by April 1st, or next meeting, that's already done. Let's do that, he's gonna retire last working day of March, April 1st he'll be back. But we need to do something about accepting $1 for the weapon. Is it just the gun, or is it?
It's sort of the badge, retirement badge.
Badge and gun.
Purchase a weapon for retirement.
Yeah, go for it.
Next, I'd like to request a motion to approve the purchase of Chief Jones's personal weapon and badge for his retirement for $1.
So moved. Second?
Trustee Graham?
Yes.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
The next, I think we already discussed the agenda. I'm not sure the website.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, do you have anything on the website?
We talked about the agenda being posted by 10 o'clock the same day. Is everybody in agreement with that? Okay. the website, Dave and I have a meeting with Civic Plus Wednesday at 1 o'clock or 1:30. But, so if you have specific interest, now's the time to send me your questions or inquiries regarding anything that you are interested in updating or changing or adding to the website. Because we're getting ready to now migrate over to what's called Central Starter. I intermittently send emails to everyone to kind of keep you continuously in the loop and up to speed on where we're at with the migration. So I can send you all the latest, greatest again with respect to what the Central Starter is that we're going to be transitioning to. In short, the Central Starter is a more robust website package that we kind of took a peek at a couple years ago, and for us to transition from where we're at now on our website, very basic package, to that was like $25,000 at that time. I don't know, of course, Trustee Clark, you weren't here, but I don't know if Trustee Grimm and Trustee Jesberger, if you remember that presentation that we did at that time. This will provide us with some of the widgets and some of the upgrades that central package has without us spending $25,000, because it's free, because we're not going to be migrating to the Drupal migration after 2.5 years of bird dogging it and following up. So if you have any questions regarding all things website, let me know. And if you have anything that you're specifically interested in doing as far as an add-on that does have a cost associated with it, I know there's conversations regarding the Minutes Manager add-on. We need to get through this process first, and then anything we feel like we need to add on further down the road, that's always an option, okay? Any questions on that? Okay, great.
And that's all I have.
On to Chief Rayleigh of Fire.
I emailed the board most of the report. Responses, Station 61 responded to 550 incidents in the month of February. For training, the division conducted multiple hours of training on several topics for the month, including patient assessment, 12 EKGs, apartment fires, SCBA drills, and fire ground size up. The fire safety inspector conducted 20 inspections and updated pre-planned books of current information. He's also been working with the new Northern Lights self-storage on the fire protection systems plans that are going on down there. And in fact, he was out there until 10 p.m. the other night as they were cutting in a new valve on the water main, because he has to inspect that as they're completing. So. The EMS coordinator reviewed 312 EMS reports for QA/QI. 211 of those transports were processed for billing. Continues to work with the EMS billing company to improve the billing process. Continues to work with the medical director for updates to the EMS protocol. The community resource specialist had 23 client interactions last month. 16 home visits were conducted and completed some food box applications for 2 residents. She also assisted with produce markets and other outreach initiatives. And under outreach, the firefighters assisted with the markets on the 14th and 28th. Franklin County Public Health was here with a shot clinic on the 11th and had 15 patients. And the firefighters installed 3 smoke alarms in residents' homes. Next, we would like to request a PO not to exceed $20,000 payable to Heritage Fire Equipment for repairs to Engine 61. We had $5,000 of that from Fund 2111-220-323, and $15,000 from Fund 2281-230-323.
So moved.
Second?
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
And last, we'd like to request a motion to accept the resignation of Carly Broom. our last day will be March 28th, 2025.
So moved.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
That's all we have, thank you.
Okay. On to Chief Jones with police.
Yeah, I have a monthly review I turned in early, at our first monthly meeting with the year-end report that was submitted already. I have some more of those if anybody in the audience needs a copy of something like the year-end reports. First thing I have is a request a motion for a purchase order in the amount of $87,878 to Coughlin Auto Group for 2 Dodge Durango police cruisers.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Next item I have is a request to purchase equipment from Park Public Safety in an amount of $14,772.38. $7,000 of that is already in previous PO to Park, and the remainder will be from Fund 2081-210-420.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
And last item I have is just informational. I will request everyone's attendance on May the 7th between 10 and 4. That will be the Battle of the Badges blood drive. Everybody wants to choose the blue tape.
You're requesting our blood.
Yes.
Our attendance.
But no, we'll have, Annette from Red Cross was here, met with myself and Deborah and Dave. They're gonna have some good giveaways for the event. So encourage anybody, and Deborah's gonna get
Was it t-shirts and something else? What was it?
T-shirts, gift cards for Amazon and.
Roosters.
Yeah. So, Deborah's gonna get some more information from Annette from Red Cross, and we'll be putting that out there to the website and social media. So that's all I have.
Awesome, thank you. On to Cody with Public Works.
Submitted my report. The crew picked up the new Ford 550. We used 31.5 tons of salt in February. We collected 13,680 pounds of brush. And we took one of the 550s to Buckeye Auto Body to get hydraulic tank measurement for a new tank.
And remind me when brush pickup
And what
is.
is that?
Brush pickup starts April 7th.
And it's on what, Mondays?
Yeah, Mondays.
And do you pick up bags?
Bags? No.
Okay, so I need to go tell my neighbors that bags that they have out there are not gonna be picked up.
Right.
What is this push?
Sometimes the trash company will take them, but they're not supposed to.
Was it Mondays and Tuesdays?
So normally we just do Mondays because we go to the whole township in one day. But if you call my number, I'll come back out Tuesday and get it for you. You just have to let me know in advance. And I can come back
Because
out.
we have a brush policy on the website, so I might need to update it, because I have it, I think Mondays and Tuesdays.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you want, you can leave for Tuesday too.
Tuesday by request, maybe?
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, there's sometimes it's all week.
Right, absolutely.
We've only had the second day.
Yeah.
Some of us aren't waiting till April either.
We've already picked up some.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And in the
Don't
news,
put it on your storm drain.
Don't put it on your storm drains, because it'll clog the storm drains, friends.
Make sure all the trash is out, please.
we've always had it like on our calendar for Mondays and Tuesdays. It's in the newsletter for Mondays and Tuesdays, so we'll just do that.
So I think a great idea would be for Cody and his crew to maybe do like a video to put on social media about like the do's and don'ts, especially with it starting up.
When you
That would
find
be so
it-
cute.
We can do that.
I would
yeah.
love that.
When you find it, pop your phone out and video it.
I've left a very awkward note with my neighbors. I was willing to help them move the sticks, but I put it in writing that you're putting the sticks here and that's gonna clog the storm drain and then your yard will flood. They didn't take me up on the offer to help them, I just did it.
Cause and
And
effect.
now I have a stink eye for my neighbors.
Cause and effect.
Cody, did you have anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. On to Dan with code enforcement.
I submitted the monthly report to you folks, but I'll review it briefly here. Currently, I have 18 open cases for the month, 50 of which I opened this month. A total of 46 have been open for the year. Mr. Medley and I met with the property maintenance or manager at a building at 2000 block in Dunbar that has been a particularly bad property for the last 2 years that I've been working on trying to get cleaned up. Fortunately, a different family member has taken over and he's more interested in trying to bring the property up to speed. There is a large amount of trash there and he's going to be working on that, but they've already replaced the roof. They just paved the driveway and we took care of all that problem the other day. So they are moving forward with that. So we're very happy to be able to get that one moving. One of the other things I've been noticing is there's no screening for the trash dumpsters for a lot of the businesses in the township, specifically up and down Cleveland Avenue. As you're driving down the road, you'll see the dumpsters there. There's no screening. Some of the more established businesses have it, others do not. So I'm starting that as one of my priorities for the summers to try and get people in compliance with all these areas, especially as we're working on Cleveland Avenue to make it more accessible and everything. So this, to me, this goes hand in hand with that, trying to make it look better all the way along. I have 2 businesses starting the 3100 block of Cleveland Avenue, both of which have been sent notices about that specific problem. Also, I've noticed a big increase in old mattresses and upholstered furniture being set out for trash pickup all over the township. As most people are supposed to know, you're supposed to wrap all that in plastic, otherwise local waste won't take it because it's a health and safety concern for their employees. So I have quite a few cases with that, but that falls more into an educational process with me notifying the people. I have one over in University View. They called for bulk pickup, but they didn't realize they're supposed to do that. I got a hold of them. They said, "Oh, no problem. We'll take care of it," and it's been already been removed and taken care of. And then lastly, for inoperable vehicles, I haven't had very many this year. Only 7 vehicles have been removed from properties. But I noticed during the summertime, it seems like we get a lot more vehicles abandoned or left in the house, so we continue to monitor that and watch it. Dave, you want me to handle the resolution? At this time, we request a resolution to surplus the Tesla code enforcement vehicle with the listed VIN number here to Gov Deals for auction.
So moved.
Second.
Not that it'll come up, but for clarity's sake, that VIN number ends in 1106. Not to get it mixed up with other Teslas. Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes. Thank you. On to Deborah with Community Affairs.
We're going to be having our first quarterly birthday event, which is next Friday, the 28th at 1 o'clock. So we're going to have cake. We're going to have old school punch. So food, fun, and cool people. We're going to have flyers that Jess made. So we're going to be doing this every quarter. So with flexibility real quick, we talked a little bit, touch base on the signs, the yard stakes for the beautification. So what I noticed was also, and I wanted to try to figure out the signs when we come into the front doors and the foyer there. They look like they're made up from the same material as the yard stakes. So I want to try to find out if that same person made that sign for the lobby, or try to find out who that vendor was for that sign in the lobby.
Different, but I
Because-
understand you're talking about both metal.
It's like aluminum alloy or something, but we can talk about that later.
Yes.
We need to find, specifically for the folks that's been participating that already have the stakes, the 2024 piece that goes on the stake as well. The flexibility, Deb, with respect to the cash summary by fund and any fiscal reports that may have been generated over the past few months. I just want to make sure we have all of those reflected on the document for the fiscal link that's on the fiscal website that I
You're
put
reminding
together
me
for you
that
a couple months
the
ago or
newsletter's gonna
so.
go out, and there's a cool QR code to go to a new page, which is access for fiscal reports. And so you're suggesting I make sure there's stuff that people look at there.
No, I'm asking, if you have any, not newsletter related. I'm
Okay?
asking if you have anything that you want to put like the hyperlinks on, that you need hyperlinks for any of the minutes or anything like that, that any new fiscal documents, I could put them on that, link that I created for the fiscal webpage. And we can touch base on that later.
Okay.
Or revisit it. I'll resend the email that has that link. Because that reflects all of the documents. Okay. And then also real quick with flexibility, we talked a little bit earlier about getting back to the aggregate program. We can actually have individuals come in and do a presentation.
Yes, the individual companies will
Okay.
come in and hawk their wares.
And that's it. Thank you.
Are there printed surveys, as we talked about in the lobby, for people that don't have computer capability to do that?
We do not, but we will tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And has the newsletter gone to,
The newsletter went to print, so there's conversations back and forth with them, and then before it gets finalized. So we've already identified a couple little oopsies, and so I'll have opportunities to edit those and send it back to them before it gets printed, so that everybody should have it in their hands by the first week of April, resident-wise.
I guess I'll just add, are we gonna change the social worker's name?
Yes, Chief Fraley already
Become Allison.
said to change it to Fiscal Officer Deb Steele.
I only wear so many hats, Miss Smothers. But thanks.
Well played. Well played.
all right, thank you, Deborah. Do we have any appreciations?
So I'm gonna thank you, Jess, for catching my many typos for the most recent meeting minutes, March 8th. I don't know why I had so many, but they were significant.
We want to appreciate Jess also for taking time to contribute to the newsletter and also do a lot of editing and proofreading on that as well, as the individuals who contributed information as well. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Deb and Melissa. As you all know, we're kind of moving Joe McCoy into transitioning into the position in the police department. And we took a day here recently to get into the UAN system. I think a few Tylenols and he's recuperated, but it's kind of a shock not to know everything behind the scenes, but the accounting system and working with Melissa and Joe, I think it's going to go well, and so we've started that process. Yes.
It's only a 500-page manual to the UAN.
So while he's gonna start doing the
Walk in the
training
park.
meeting,
Walk in the park. And yeah, if the other two trustees didn't know, we're giving report access to department heads, and if trustees want that, we can send that to you. So I think it is helpful. I also send them out every month. If you wanted to say, what was the year-end report in 2018? You don't need to wait on me to pull that kind of thing.
Oh, I'm good, thanks.